Retrospective for Instituto Cervantes, and I'm really grateful to the Institute for providing me with this opportunity, because this was a very important retrospective. Carlos Saura being one of the most important of all Spanish filmmakers, and yet a lot of his films outside of his flamenco trilogy haven't been screened as extensively in India as, say, some of the films of Pedro Almodovar or Luis Buñuel. So the idea of putting together this retrospective was to bring his films outside of flamenco trilogy. Like, we don't have Carmen specifically here, but we got Flamenco for You, which we had last week on the occasion of the Spanish Language Day. We started this retrospective 4 weeks back when we had Critic, which was the opening film, a very important film from the 60s, because it also won Carlos Saura Special Jury Award at the Cannes Film Festival. Then the second film that we had for you was Elisa My Life. It won the leading actor of the film, Fernando Rey, the Best Actor Award at Cannes Film Festival. Then the third film was a comedy, which was a tonal shift in our retrospective, because the first two were like intimate family dramas with political and social undercurrents. But the third one was a comedy, a satire of sorts, but still the political and social commentary was pretty evident. And last week, as I've already told you, we had this amazing film, Flamenco, which takes you to a very different phase in Carlos Saura's life, because he started off as a neo-realistic filmmaker, then gradually, and the censors were after him all the time, and he had to find more metaphorical ways of, using allegorical ways of telling things. So that's why his films of that phase have a lot of metaphors. The visual language is very different. But with Flamenco, which is a film from 2010, you would see how he would use the grammar of choreography, grammar of dance, music, everything comes to fore, and a very new kind of language, emerged out of it. And Carlos Saura till date, is synonymous with that, how to use the dance and music, to such an advantage, as you would see in his films such as Flamenco, and also the film that we have next week for you, Iberia. That is the film that will also be closing this retrospective. But this particular film that we have for you this evening is very rare. For me, if I look at the entire retrospective, I would say it is probably the most important film in so many ways, because it is a film that is set in the Spanish Civil War. And I don't know how many of you have read this famous Ernest Hemingway novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls. That also coincidentally is set in the Spanish Civil War. So those of you who have read the novel, I think would have some understanding of what it was like to fight that civil war. For those of you who haven't read this novel, this is a wonderful opportunity, though this is no direct association with that novel, but this is actually based on a play called iAy Carmela. And this play is also set in this, was used in a very, very popularizing way. And till date, in fact, the movie will open up with that song, iAy Carmela. The lyrics are beautiful. For those of you who do not understand Spanish, it's basically a sort of a reminder that who all they are fighting. They are fighting the fascists. They are fighting, the mercenaries, and there is a very tough fight going on, but they don't want to give up. So it's all about that. But just quickly, before I let you enjoy the film, quickly I just want to tell you why this film is so important. Because Carlos Saura this time round was committed to comedy like he has never been before. This is his 23rd full-length feature film. If you look at his filmography, there's a film that came out in 1990. So he had made 22 full-length films before that. This was his 23rd film. And Saura himself says that this is the first time I've been able to use comedy to depict war. I've done it, using allegory, I've done it using, satire, but this is the first time I'm going full throttle with comedy. And why is he able to do that right now is because he feels that now he can see things from distance. It's 1990s, and the war and everything which he saw with his own eyes, that's now somewhat further away for him to see it in a comic way. As Charlie Chaplin also famously said, that life is, a tragedy in close-up and probably a comedy in the long shot. So something similar to that is what Carlos Saura also has in his mind. So he's using comedy, and using comedy he's able to say things which probably he wouldn't have been able to say